Reverend Louise Scott Roundtree, Council Member at Large for the City of Newark, welcoming you to the 5th episode of News and Views, Faith and Community. I'm very excited about coming out to the public live in a living color. When you tune into this show, you're going to see some of the most amazing individuals, some of the most amazing shakers and movers and change makers in the city and in the state. But of course, my beginnings will be all of Newark, New Jersey. The reason why News and Views were chosen for the theme of this show is because there was once a woman named Bernice Bass. It was a very little girl, probably not even able to reach a radio, which I'm just barely able to reach one now. However, she had a show that would come on at 10 o'clock on Sunday nights, and it was called News and Views. What I thought that would be great was to bring news and views, faith and community to the screen so individuals can see and hear those change makers, those shakers and movers, and those individuals who can offer services to you. So welcome once again to the 5th episode of News and Views. As you know, we've had our mayor on, we've celebrated Ramadan. We're now in Women's History Month. And what better way to kick off Women's History Month than with a wonderful guest that I've invited to be with us. And her name is First Lady Linda J. Baraka. Now, First Lady is not on her birth certificate, but is surely running her life. Let me just tell you a little bit about this beautiful woman that is joining us today. My First Lady, the wife of the Honorable Mayor Raz J. Baraka, is more than a leader. She is a force of vision and action for Newark. As the First Lady of New Jersey's largest city, standing proudly alongside her husband, Mayor Raz J. Baraka, she has made it her mission to uplift, to empower, and transform her community. Her work is not about programs only, it's about people. A steadfast champion for women and children, Linda has dedicated her platform to creating opportunities, resources, and safe spaces that allow them to thrive. When she launched Newark Women's Moving Forward, she dared to imagine a city where 1,000 women could break free from the weight of debt. That vision became a movement, proving that with the right tools and unwavering support, financial freedom is within reach for every woman. Linda's creativity and commitment extend far beyond the building. She has turned Newark into a stage for joy, culture, and connection. She reimagined downtown's Mulberry Commons and Ironside building into a dazzling Newark Winter Village, a holiday wonderland that draws over 10,000 visitors each year. She brings the African diaspora to Newark through Afrobeat Fest, New Jersey's largest celebration of African food, music, and culture, reminding all who attend that heritage is meant to be shared and celebrated. Her entrepreneurial spirit runs just as deep as her public service, with Bold Newark, a boutique shop inside Newark International's Airport Terminal A. Linda champions local and Black-owned businesses. Linda Baraka's work reflects her belief that community is both the heart and future of Newark. She holds a master's of Public Administration from Rutgers University of Public Affairs and Administration, a foundation she uses daily to bridge vision and action together with ideas and impact. I want you to look and pay close attention to the guest that I have joining us today. I'm excited, kicking off Women's History Month with the First Lady, Linda Juma Baraka. Welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, Councilwoman Roundtree. That was a nice introduction. I'm excited to be here with you today.
And I'm excited to have you. So I'm going to not be able to let you take back a message and say that I did all the answering and the questions, right? Because some people say that I'll ask a question and that's someone you know very dearly. He'll say, yeah, you asked the question, but you answered it too, only because a piece of the answer I give is leading to where I want you to continue. But in your case, I'm going to deal with 3 topics on this show today. I'm going to use structure for the remainder of my shows because people need to hear points and they need to have clarity on specific areas. There's probably not enough time in this show for you to talk about all of the things. So let's just start with motherhood and being a wife to the most powerful man in the state of New Jersey and one of the most progressive and phenomenal leaders. How that changed your life from going from an entrepreneur into government, into planning, into having your own business, to now being on the front stage, front and center, as the leading lady of the largest city.
I like to tell people that the mayor was elected. I was selected by him, right? For me, being First Lady is really important, but what's more important to me is being a mom to my 2 young children. And so I put them first above everything, even above myself most of the time, above career, above being First Lady. Mothering them, nurturing them, raising them has been the most important part of my life.
Yes, and that does not come with a manual.
It doesn't.
That's
It doesn't.
OJT, on-the-job training.
We're all learning and growing
Yes.
together, for sure.
Yes. So now we know that your children are a priority. We know that the mayor was elected, but I want you to understand that you really serve the role as a First Lady in excellence because you were appointed. It's a calling on your life. Everybody can't be what you are. That is true. I know the audience would agree with me. It's a calling to be a First Lady of anything, the church, the city, the state. And there's such high expectations of not just you, but even as your children grow, those expectations, because they're the mayor's children, or they're the governor, we don't know what's coming in the future, what the plans are, but just being the child and the wife of someone holding a high office, no matter what it is a challenge. And I just want you to know, and our listening audience to know, that we have to give kudos to our leading ladies because they have an assignment, they have a calling, and it's not your calling if you weren't called to do that. So we have to encourage, inspire, and thank God that there's someone that took the assignment, that knows that that's their assignment, and they're completing it and fulfilling it well. Which leads me to our next point and question. Women empowerment, entrepreneurship. You've been in business ever since I've known you. You are helping someone in business or supporting women in business. Adina's going to be one of our guests, Adina Bio. And we know how she's a shaker and a mover. Tell me, or tell the listening audience, your platform on women empowerment.
I think for me, it's always been about supporting, encouraging other people who look like me, right? People have done that for me, and that has been an integral part of my life. I can remember Tracy Mumford. She gave me my first internship while I was still in college, and so I've known Tracy Mumford for a long time. And I just remember seeing her as a young college student in her workplace at the time, just encouraging me to, to continue my craft, to perfect my craft, and just watching her inspired me. And so for me, that's really was the beginnings of wanting to help other women, because a woman helped me at a very vulnerable time. I was a young college student in my life, and she continues to mentor me and coach me and guide me even now as an adult. And so I want to be able to help people in the way that she helped me inspire women as well. And so the things that we do, that I do, and that we do together, right, as First Lady and Councilwoman, are things that we probably would be doing even if we didn't have the titles. I'm grateful that the title helps me to amplify what I would have already been doing.
And First Lady, you're absolutely correct. You, myself, and now Congresswoman LaMonica McIver were already heading every direction we possibly could to assist women on every level, not just entrepreneurs, but women who are dealing with all types of issues, trying to navigate, and sometimes you have to pivot from motherhood to running their business to trying to see who they can assist. And Adina, I brought up Adina because she's going to be on, because that's someone who's dealing with development, food, and a whole bunch of other things. And at the same time, I just want to bring this up real quick. I want to just go back to Joyce Carter, a young lady. I met her, just believe it or not, I was at an event and met her daughter. Or met Melissa Evans. You know Melissa?
Daughter.
Yes, her daughter. And so when Melissa came up to me, I didn't initially recognize her, and she was like, "You know my mother," blah, blah. And she started talking, and I was like, "Oh, you are truly Joyce's daughter, for sure."
Yeah.
I said, "Yes," and I do remember you. And just seeing her recently, knowing I was coming on this show, knowing that she was another that started with some of you at a very early age, that led you to a Tracy Mumford and all of these other individuals. I think it was Quest.
Absolutely. So, of course, a Joyce Carter, Miss Carolyn Wallace at RYO, right? They were people who built this foundation in us. And a part of the reasons why I do some of the projects that I do, one of the things we learned at Quest is if you don't see it, build it. And so when there's an opportunity, when I want something in my community, if I don't see it, I have to build it. And so that has always been my guiding light. That has helped me in business, helped me around the programming that we do, bringing the ice skating to Newark. I didn't see it, so we brought it. Afro Beat Fest, I didn't see it, so we brought it. That obviously that started as a young child with my dad, and Africa Newark organization, trying to bridge the gap between the city and the African diaspora. And so Africa Newark Festival happened every year for my entire childhood for 3 days at Military Park. And it's something that I remember very vividly, seeing all of the vendors, seeing the love for music, the love for food. But as you begin to grow older, you realize that it was more than just a dance party, right? It's economic impact. It's helping those small vendors get money throughout the season. It's introducing people to the culture. It's recognizing our culture and making sure that we share our heritage with others.
Which is very important because in this day and time when they're trying to erase our history, and we were talking about this just recently at another meeting I was at with your husband, with the mayor, that if we sit back, say nothing, and be quiet, pretty soon they will try to eliminate us. But as long as there's an Afrobeat Fest, as long as there's a Linda Baraka, as long as there's a Cleo Tucker, as long as there are individuals that will make sure, Junius Williams, as long, and what's really critical is that some of these individuals, like you're very young, your husband's young, but Junius Williams is 82 years old. Larry Hamm is 70, and I've had them on the show. So if we don't pass on this knowledge and this belief in yourself and understanding who you are, because if you don't know who you are, then it's very hard for you to even understand what you should be doing for self. You've got it, or for others. So it is important, and to our listening audience, I want you, those who are viewing us, to understand that we don't have to be ashamed of our heritage. This is something we should embrace. We should be supporting the Afrobeat Fest. We should be connecting to those individuals that are culturally trying to make sure that we're aware of who we are. I always refer back to your father-in-law, God rest his soul, who he and Lady Amina, Sister Amina Baraka, they always stood on the premises of self-awareness, self-knowledge. Listen, I tell folks all the time, and this might not be popular for you guys, but we all came from Africa. I just want you to know. But the truth of the matter is, the motherland is our original home. Everything came up out of that. And if you don't study history, you will not know. I tell people even about the Bible. We were not there. Somebody was there and told the story. We're not sure how accurate the story is, but we know some of it is something somebody witnessed, and that's pertaining to our history. We were kings, we were queens. We were not always slaves, but there were slaves in Exodus. Moses, we lived in the castle and with Pharaoh, and then he ran away for his people to be free. We as a people have to understand what Afrobeat Fest is. We as a people have to understand the First Lady Linda Juma Baraka and those that have come before her in that movement. Make sure that we do not forget. Source of knowledge is a PSA. Go down there and get some books. They can help you with your history too. Source of knowledge on Broad Street. Women empowerment. So we do hold women's meetings once a month. That's been going on for quite some time, but the past few years it has been spearheaded for sure by the First Lady of this city. She is the face of the city for our women. And so with that being said, when we first started the women's meetings, she had a template, an idea, and a vision of areas that she thought would definitely, that God gave her as a vision that would help our women. So talk about some of those things that we have accomplished and those guests that we have brought.
Like you mentioned, we did the Newark Women Moving Forward campaign, which was a financial empowerment campaign. We've done mental health.
Yes.
has been your baby that you love to champion. We've done maternal health.
That's the next topic.
Where we brought the director of Nurture NJ right here to the city of Newark. We did a screening around that. Small business empowerment, small business resources through Invest Newark, NJEDA. We've done a number of things. I'm really happy that we are able to continue to do the meetings because women need the resources that we bring. In addition to that, it's important that we do it right in the community, right? So they don't have to go and rely on another institution to bring these resources that we have right here in the city. And outside of the city resources, we try to bring resources that are available to them through the state, through other organizations as well.
Which leads me to my next point, her baby. Something that she champions and have been championing for real. Not fake, not phony. This is something that's so close to her heart, and many women should be concerned. Those who don't have the knowledge, First Lady Baraka can school you on some very, very critical issues dealing with childbirth. You mentioned maternal health, which is one of the topics I wanted you to speak on and educate those who are watching on maternal health.
Yeah, I mean, in New Jersey, where we live, one of the richest states in the country, Black women are 7 times more likely to die in childbirth. Our children are 3 times more likely than our counterparts to die within the first 1,000 days. For me, growing up, I would always hear my mom talk about it, right? She's a Ghanaian immigrant. Talk about it with respects to women in Ghana. And so I always thought that was something that happened over there, not in this rich country full of opportunities, full of education and the best doctors in the world. More recently, former First Lady Tammy Murphy championed the issue on a statewide level. And around that time that they came into office, I was pregnant with my first child. And so this hit home for me in a different way because I'm about to have a baby and I don't want to die in childbirth. I want to be here to raise my child along with my husband. And so I began to talk to my doctor, my own personal doctor, about it. And I had to tell her, frankly, I don't want to die in childbirth. And I told her that. And I think when I set the tone in our appointment, she began to take me more seriously. She's already a great doctor, right? She's a good doctor. But when I set the tone for her in the appointment, she began to take it more seriously. She talked to me more. I was older when I was pregnant, and so considered a geriatric pregnancy, right?
And that's amazing. I
was young. I was in my 30s, but it's considered a geriatric pregnancy. And so I had to do extra appointments around it, which I'm thankful for because it allowed them to monitor my baby and monitor me a lot more. So it turned out to be a good thing. And so from that, I know that as First Lady, obviously I have the resources and people want to treat you better because you're First Lady, but every woman should be given those opportunities. And so that's why it has become really important to me to talk about maternal health, specifically Black maternal health. In this time, in this area, New Jersey was 47 at the time when I was pregnant with my first child, which was about 2019. We have moved up to 25, and a lot of that is in part because we continue to have this conversation, continue to talk about it. The hospital systems in New Jersey are beginning to have the implicit bias training. We have more doulas on board. Nurture NJ is doing postpartum care for moms where they actually come and visit you, and that's actually a bill in the state where they come and visit you. Places like the city of Newark are putting breastfeeding rooms in the different departments for moms. There's so many different resources that are available, but we can always do more. And so to continue to have the conversation because people are still dying. People are still dying. When I was pregnant, I remember Serena Williams, she was having her baby. Maybe she had her baby a few months before mine, and she almost died in childbirth. Right? Serena Williams is richer than all of us, right? On every TV screen. And if the doctors don't take her seriously, imagine a mom in Newark, right? Without health insurance and things like that. And so we have to continue to talk about it. So for Black women, regardless of how much you make, how much education you have, what title you have, they were still not taking us seriously in the hospital room. And so I'm grateful for the work that the state of New Jersey is doing, the city of Newark is doing, around making sure that our Black moms are protected, and so are our babies.
That is phenomenal. And here again, something that's not spread across Channel 12 on a monthly basis, no shows for women pertaining to this education. And so, you being a champion for maternal health, I see this going a lot further with the partnerships with University Hospital now, and with Beth Israel and RWJ.
Sure.
We have to pull all of these health institutions in, and then funding.
Yeah.
We have to reach out and advocate for funding for all of these programs, for the dues, for the listen. I see that there is a need for even nurses, but let's talk about midwives. I mean, there's many, there's such a need. And I was speaking to a group of girls in the school because I would like for you to travel with me. I'm doing the Sisters and Brothers Sisters tour, and to tell these young ladies that there's an opportunity for you to do more than worry about being a doctor or a lawyer. There's other things out there. There are other concerns. There's other areas. The thing is money. That's really becomes down to the bottom line. That is really what you were saying about the health care. Like if certain mothers don't have certain dollars, certain insurances, do they get the same care as you get?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are fortunate enough here in the city to have leaders like Amir Baraka.
Oh, yes.
To have health systems like RWJ
Yes.
and University
Yes.
Hospital, all of the
Yes.
leaders there that take this situation very seriously. And so we are seeing it move forward here in the city because we have people who believe it and don't take what's happening to black women in the city. They take what's happening to black women in the city seriously. So I think we're very fortunate in that way. That might not necessarily be the case for somebody in South Jersey
Right.
or in some of these
State.
rural
That's right,
suburban
areas.
towns.
That is so phenomenal, First Lady. So we've talked about motherhood, you navigating and being the wife of the most powerful man in the city, the state, and to me in the country, of course. But that's my brother. I'm a Baraka believer. I'm a believer in God, but a Baraka believer because I know the legacy, just as you talked about your dad. And you talked about the fest being in Newark that you marched as a child. We've talked about maternal health. As we talk about many other things, are there some things that you would like to share with women today on this program? This is part one, by the way.
Part one. Wow. For me, I want to talk about Winter Village just really briefly.
Yes.
I thought about Winter Village the other day and what we're able to do there, right? Like bring ice skating, outdoor ice skating for the first time downtown Newark to create these memories and to teach our young people how to skate. And for me, it reminded me of when I was a young child with the African American Heritage Parade and Carnival that used to be in Weequahic Park. And I can remember every Memorial weekend, this is something that myself, my friends, my family, we looked forward to going to Weequahic Park. And then on Sunday, coming to downtown Broad Street to see this big, beautiful celebration of our culture and heritage statewide, right? Because it was a statewide African American Heritage Parade. And for me, I hope that the children that get to come downtown to Newark Winter Village grow up and have those memories of something beautiful within their city, of childhood memories, positive things, joy, right? Because we don't always get to experience just joy.
That's right.
Without anything
That's
attached
right.
to it, just
That's
joy.
right. That's right.
And so I hope that they grow up with this same kind of feeling that how I feel about African American heritage. I hope that our young people get to grow up thinking like that about Newark Winter Village. For the women in the city, I would say that we are beautiful, we are resilient, we're strong because we are from Newark, right? And whatever happens to us ultimately happens to our city. And so we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves in every aspect, right? Financially, mental health, physical, and things like that. Because ultimately, our city is ours, right? And so whatever happens to us happens to our city.
Isn't that amazing? Now you get to see her privately in an intimate setting, talking about the things that matter, not just to her, but that matter for all women. I am truly honored once again to have for our 5th episode for our Women's History Celebration Month. Now let me be very clear, everyone. We celebrate women every single day. Women give birth to nations. I know there's a saying that Adam was created, but God had to create a sample before he created the masterpiece, which was Eve. They also said there's a guy named James Brown. that put pen to paper, and he stated, this is a man's world. But then somewhere along the line, he had to put that it would be nothing without a woman or a girl. So we thank God for both of those theologians that thought nothing about writing anything but saying something good about the sisters. We thank you for tuning in today. We thank you, First Lady Linda
Thank you so much for
Juma
having
Baraka,
me.
and we thank you all that are tuned in to watch News and Views, Faith and Community with Reverend Louise Scott Roundtree. Thank you to our Honorable Mayor and to those in the audience that are taping this event, this program, this episode 5. Listen, happy Women's Day, month, International Women's Day, all of it. We celebrate our sisters, and we thank you for tuning in. God bless you.